Today, we consider the future of business coaching. Facilitating this knowledge stream is Daryl W. Gurney. He's an executive and a career coach, author, speaker, licensed spiritual counselor, and he's also an entrepreneur as founder of CareerGuide.com and TheBack40.com. Welcome, Daryl.
Thank you, Gene.
Now, theme number 8 asks, what are the specific wants and needs to be addressed in the future of business coaching? What were you figuring out here, Daryl?
Well, the experts have been talking about the organizational evolution and how organizations are different now, how the generations are coming into organizations and making it different, how coaching needs to be different. Coaching has been around, known as coaching, for maybe 20 years. And in the beginning, it was more like about listening skills and helping people find their purpose. But basically, David Peterson was saying that's not where the action is right now. You want to move ahead and where organizations are today and what's at the cutting edge. And you want to kind of leave what he calls that safe stuff over for other coaches so that you can be on the cutting edge of coaching. So I wanted to ask our experts, how do they feel about that? Do they feel that there's a cutting edge out there? And what are the wants and needs that will have us as coaches addressing that cutting edge? So that was the inspiration behind the theme.
Great. You talked about the experts. Let's get a look at them. Tell us about the panel.
The panel it's awesome. It's just such a privilege to throw out some ideas and watch this panel interact. They come from years and years of background internationally, working with large organizations in so many different facets. The different coaches here have their unique bents and perspectives and views on things, and some are very divergent from others, and it brings for a fascinating discussion.
And in your executive summary, you start to wax a bit poetic. Walk us through this.
Well, they say the more things change, the more they remain the same. And first coined by Jean-Baptiste Alphonse Karr in 1849. And hey, really fits our theme here because that's a lot of the old. And then the new is Bon Jovi used it for a song in 2010. So, yeah, well, bullet point number 1 here. One of the main things that came out from these experts is, hey, let's not throw away what this expert calls the safe stuff, because the safe stuff is staple stuff. It's got to be there. Matter of fact, in some ways, it may need to be there even more today, given all the changes. The basic levels of coaching are really critical to have in place today. And there is a need to acknowledge, as David Peterson brings up, that there are brand new frontiers and brand new vistas that as coaches we want to be at the forefront of.
Sounds great. All right, let's get into your key point number 1, which is timeless skills remain.
Exactly. And as I was saying, you have next gen conversations going on, and you have new generations entering the workforce, and some of the very basic elements of, like I said, character, interpersonal team skills, cultural alignment. Don Barefoot really went into a lot of detail about this, about how we want to make sure that we are addressing those even more now, that we can't throw that out. That's not, quote, safe, because with new generations and with new organizations culturally, those are whole new conversations right now. And David Feitner, who's one of our new coaches that came in here, is basically saying, hey, you can't throw out the listening skills and the baby with the bathwater. And we really have to be emphasizing trust and developing skills around creating the trust.
And then you get into key point number 2, which is to say, now you also need to use technology and new approaches in order to stay relevant, right?
Right, because here's the thing. There are enormous changes going on. There are generational changes, as I've mentioned, where you have the Gen X, Gen Y as the millennials. So there's a lot of changes there, but also when it comes to technology, there's a lot of changes going on. There's different organizational changes going on. One, Patrick Henn brought up an idea of someone named Francisco Gino, who is demanding that employees unleash their inner rebel. And you look at organizations now that aren't like when you and I grew up, where it was hierarchical and top down and, you do what you were told. Now organizations are encouraging employees to speak up against non-efficient processes and to rebel, maybe not publicly through the social media and things like that, but to create rebellions within organizations to have them come out more efficient, to have them come out as cutting edge and innovative organizations. So with all of these changes in place, basically, and there's so many of the experts talking about how we really need to be out front as coaches. We really need to see what's going on, and we need to put ourselves out there so that we're modeling versus just trying to catch up.
A lot of great panelists, like you said. Tell us about the three that really stood out in this panel.
I will say this every time we do this. We have great panelists, and so many jump in and contribute. And the algorithm, comes up with Patrick and Don are just forever jumping in, sometimes debating, sometimes contributing to each other's conversations. Lena has been contributing enormously. Patty Stoltis. It's hard to narrow it down to three. And this week, these are the ones we're saying, good job. And I say good job to everyone for contributing and keeping the discussion lively.
Well done, Daryl. Thank you so much. Look forward to our next conversation.
Me too, Gene. Thanks.
Daryl W. Gurney, an executive and career coach, author, speaker, licensed spiritual counselor, and he's an entrepreneur as founder of CareerGuide.com and TheBack40.com. And we will talk again, Daryl.
Thanks, Gene.